Tonight, President Trump's new tariffs are threatening to further disrupt the global economy. The levies target 60 economies and range from 10 to 12.5%. A U.S. trade representative says this will impact more than 99% of all U.S. imports. The new tariffs are renewing trade tensions at a time when there's economic uncertainty over the war with Iran. CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi joins me now with more on all of this. Olivia, so we talked earlier today. Why did President Trump issue the news on these tariffs, and how are they going to impact consumers?
Well, back in February, the Supreme Court struck down the president's authority to use IEEPA tariffs, those emergency power tariffs, to tariff countries at his disposal. Remember, we had what he was calling Liberation Day last April, where he was putting tariffs on a variety of countries. Well, the Supreme Court back in February said that the president can't do that. So what ended up happening was the U.S. Trade Representative's office started these investigations, these Section 301 investigations into unfair labor practices, and they opened them on 60 countries. Now, today we saw the result of those, yesterday we saw the result of those investigations, which resulted in that 10 to 12.5% tariff on about 60 economies around the world, which means that about 99% of the goods coming into the U.S. will now have those tariffs on them. Now, as far as the consumer, they're not going to feel an intense impact as a result of this because they overlap with the IEEPA tariffs. Those were set to expire last night. These tariffs went into effect at 12:01 this morning. So the consumer is not going to see them, in the near term, but they're certainly going to still feel the impacts, the economic impacts of these tariffs as the Trump administration continues to use them as a way to try to reshape the U.S. economy and the global economy in a way that the president sees as more fair to the American taxpayer. But overall, Americans are still going to have to pay these tariffs.
There's also new tension now, Olivia, between the U.S. and Canada over that 50% tariff threat. So what's happening there?
Well, the president also threatened a new tariff on Canada, the 50% tariff, as you just mentioned, on all sorts of goods coming from Canada into the U.S., from honey to hockey sticks. Now, in retaliation for that, Canada today had this grand opening of the Gordie Howe Bridge. He's that famous hockey player who recently passed. He's from Canada, but he played for the Detroit Red Wings for decades, so he was known as kind of the bridge there. And yet, there's still some divide between the U.S. and Canada on this. The president issued a Truth Social as a result of that opening today of the bridge. He said on Truth Social that Canada had disinvited the United States of America to the opening of the bridge, but said it's fine because, quote, we changed the terms of the new economic deal on this bridge so that the United States of America now gets 50% of the profit. So this war between the U.S. and Canada, this economic war, is still continuing. Chanel.
Okay, Olivia, thank you.